been a long road. You've been working hard, girl. Look at you go. Yeah, it's your time. Keep moving on. Keep on going. Keep proving I'm wrong. Look at how far you've come now. Look at all you've done now. I'm glad I got a front row view to see all your dreams come true. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, honey. It's been a long road.
Yo, bitch, call me Myron.
It's crazy to me the amount of people that's on Zepbound and they have no clue what they're doing. I was on Zepbound for 11 or was it 12 months before I got pregnant. And if I didn't get pregnant, I would have continued. Zepbound was one of the best things that happened to me. But let me explain some things before you start. First and foremost, what no one told me is the cravings is still going to be there. You still are going to have some days where you just want to eat like a pig, and that's absolutely fine. That doesn't mean it's not working. It means it needs time for your body to adjust. I was going through different in the beginning. I went from 2.5 mg to 5 mg so fast that I didn't give my body time to adapt. And I was calling my doctor and I was like, hey, this is not working for me. Why am I still craving? Why is my body all over the place? Every single time you get a dose higher, your body needs time to adapt. Another thing is taking supplements or taking one thing, let me tell you right now, electrolytes, if you take your shot at nighttime, like I would take it during the afternoon. That's the best way that worked for me. I would take it during the afternoon, and at nighttime, I would drink so much more electrolytes. And then I would go to sleep in the morning. I wouldn't wake up with the headache. I wouldn't wake up with the fatigue. Also, remember, it takes time for your body to adjust.
2025 was my last year being fat. So I got the Zeppy. I'm not going to act like I didn't live a full life in this body. I lived a full, happy, meaningful life in this body. I've loved and been loved. I've had children. I've laughed. I've showed up. And while this life that I built had many, many highs, like so many good things, I think the lows is really what brought me here, like to the point that I'm at now. My lows really exposed that I was showing up everywhere except for myself. I think I owe it to myself for that to be different now. Loving myself and showing up for myself now means just treating my body better. It means listening to my body instead of fighting it. It means choosing support instead of convincing myself that
just trust me, you'll be fine. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in it.
So I was looking at my page and I was like, girl, you haven't updated your Zepbound series since when? Yeah. Okay, so I just want to give you guys a quick little update. How's the Zepbound going? So just give you guys a quick backstory. I started in August. I have a whole series about it. I'm gonna go ahead and post this video there to go ahead and close.
I've heard since I posted my video a lot of crazy stories, and I've been paying attention to my body as I do in all circumstances, especially in fighting a new drug into my body. I had severe muscle spasms, especially in my left shoulder, after I had injected one of my, I think it was third dosage into my arm. I just went to go reach, and it was so severe that it hurted so bad for like 2 weeks straight.
I finally went up to the...
I stopped taking my GLP-1 injections, Zepbound, back in October. So we are October, November, December, January. We are 4 months post. And baby, the cravings are coming back. All I want is something sweet. I'm telling you, all I want is something sweet. But some days I have days where I just don't eat at all. I just eat like little small stuff. Some chips or something, some chips, peanut butter crackers or something like that. But for the most part, like food, I can eat again.
This cat is over here yelling at me. Hi, Pinky. Oh, she waits till I start my stream to start having a fit. Hello. Hi. Hi. Meow. I would pick her up, but then she's gonna fuss. I don't know what she wants from me. Hello, everyone. Oh, God. It's always you, Sunshine. Leave my clavicles alone, okay? They're shy. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Hello, everybody. Y'all are gonna have to forgive me because my energy is a little low today. I switched my shot to today, so now I'm kind of like a dud. I am gonna do some quick housekeeping first, like the stream as you come in, and we're gonna jump straight into today's topic, which is I actually have a list of things that I want to talk about. I was an adult and I took notes this time. Then at around 9, I have a members only stream scheduled for 9:30. It won't automatically roll over. I will have to end the stream, and then members, you'll have to come back on the other link, the other stream that's posted. If I get everything done, I'll end a little early so that I can go make me something to eat, and then I'll come back. All right. Like the stream, report in moderators with your HR representative. So some quick housekeeping. I'm a little groggy tonight. I'm a little groggy today because hold on, let me see if I can adjust my light. Yeah, I'm a little groggy because I switched my injection to today from, I think, Monday evening is when I would typically take it. So I took it today in the afternoon, in the early afternoon, around 12 p.m. The reason why I switched my injection day is because, like I told y'all, this 10 milligram has been making me feel so tired. In fact, I'm not gonna lie. I might go off camera for a little while. Like if my eyes just get too overwhelmed, I'm just gonna go off camera and keep the commentary. But I wanted to switch my injection because I was noticing that if I would take my injection during the week, it was almost impossible to get up for work. Luckily, I work from home, right? I told y'all last week I ended up one day I had to just work from bed the day after I took my injection because I was just so tired. So I figured maybe switching to a weekend shot day. I really want to get my shot to Thursday evening or Friday evening. Well, no, I'm sorry, not evening. Thursday evening or Friday morning or whatever. That way, if I'm going to get tired, I have all of the weekend to get through that sleepiness. And then by the time I go to work Monday, I should be fine. But I didn't want to take my shot too early. So today would be 2 days early. So I am feeling pretty groggy. I'm like really tired. But the show must go on, right? So I have a weigh-in for y'all today. I also changed my weigh-in day from Sunday to Friday. So yesterday. I weighed in yesterday after we had that whole, well, I guess before, I should say before. Last night we were talking about how psycho some of y'all are about your weigh-ins. You don't want to weigh in with makeup on. You want to shave your head. You want to shave all your body hair and no underwear and no socks and no glasses and no lip gloss. And you're going to wipe your eyebrows off and no bed lint and all the psycho stuff that y'all were saying yesterday. Yes, that's what y'all were saying. I have a weigh-in. I have a weigh-in for y'all today, okay? So like the stream, let's see if I can get all of this done in 2 hours, and then we're gonna talk about. So we're gonna do the weigh-in, and I'm gonna do my Lose It app breakdown. I'm not necessarily gonna go over what I've been eating, but just how much I've been eating, and then the notes that I was taking throughout the week. And then we're gonna go over Dr. Spencer Nadolsky's depression video. It's very, very short. It doesn't even require much of a reaction. Just need him to deliver the information so I can use that as a jumping off point. We will then get into Anhedonia as a side effect of being on Tirzepatide, and we're going to break some of that down. And we're also going to talk about how I'm down to my last dose of 10 milligram. Now, originally I told y'all that I was going to wait until I reached my goal to titrate down to the 7.5. That has changed. Okay. That has changed. We are no longer, I know, don't kill me. Y'all give me a chance before y'all start jumping down my throat. Okay. Before y'all start jumping down my throat. Things have changed. All right. We're no longer waiting until I get to my goal weight to titrate down. We're going to talk about it. So I have one more dose of 10 milligram left, and then it's kaput. All right. Then we'll start to wrap up, and we will talk about transitioning into the members only stream. Okay, actually, you know, since we're talking about it, let me go ahead and get the link in case anybody would like to become a member. And don't forget, some of y'all have like free super chats or member chats that you can use as you hit your membership milestones. So don't forget to use those. And if anybody would like to super chat, you can do that as well, because I don't think I'll be able to really keep up with the chat tonight, depending on how busy it gets. And honestly, depending on how my eyes are treating me. So if you really need me to pay attention to something that you're saying, then you're welcome to send it in a super chat. All right, so let me get the link for new memberships. Yes, that's the one. That's the one that I need, guys. That's the one. So what did y'all, real quick, while I get this link out here, last night's stream? We was up pretty late. Those of y'all that made it. We were, why are you doing that to me? Okay, let's just do become a member. We were up pretty late. And Jen was being antisocial. Okay. All right. Let's pin the message. I went back and listened to the stream like I always do. Even if I get off at 2 a.m, I still go back and listen to it, at least part of it. Like I'll fall asleep to me listening to whatever live stream I just got off of. And I felt like I was speaking at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Like I felt like I was speaking really fast. And we're going to get into why I think that is. Like I was listening to myself and I was like, well, it could be that I had the video sped up. I don't know. Because even when I didn't have it sped up, I don't know. It just felt like I was talking really fast and I was just being really chatty. So I don't know. I know I talk a lot, but we'll get into some of that later. All right. So let's get into my weigh-in, because why not, right? It's a new week and I have changed my weigh-in day. And you know, I wanna redeem myself from my week of constipation. Now, my constipation has not fully resolved or whatever. Once the Miralax wore off, like I took the Miralax for like 2 days, maybe 3 days straight. But once that wore off, I went right back to being constipated. So I don't know. Now I have switched over to taking my magnesium daily. And typically it takes a few days of me doing that for me to actually get regular again. So we will see how that goes. So I weighed in yesterday. Yes, in my PJs. Okay. Actually, let's start with last week. Last week I weighed in at 171 pounds because I was constipated. It was crazy. I was up 3.5 pounds from like 167. 2 weeks ago, I weighed in at 167. And then last week I weighed in at, I think 170.5. So let's get into how my eating was from that weigh-in. Let's get into how my eating was from that weigh-in, which was last Sunday. And then we'll get into what my weigh-in was yesterday. If you haven't already, please like the stream. All right. So that Sunday after weighing in, I had a pretty decent day, actually. I'd say I don't want to say I overate, but I ate 1,800 calories, which is about maintenance for me. That might be above maintenance. I don't know. But I ate about 1,800 calories, which I'm typically aiming for 1,500 on gym days or exercise days and 1,100 on my more sedentary days. So 1,800 calories, like that was a lot of food. And it was day 7 for me after my injection. So I think that's why I was able to get so much food in. But I don't like the way my macros ended up working out for this day. So I had, I wish I could have these in percentages, but I don't. I had 174 grams of carbs, 93 grams fat, which my goal was 57. So that was up. And my goal for carbs was 130. It was up. And then my protein, I only made it to 58 grams, which is insufficient. Like it's absolutely insufficient. I did get in 80 ounces of water, which was really good. And then I made a note that for my constipation, I did hot tea, Miralax, and I did an abdominal massage. And I also put a note in here that I had skipped dinner the night before. That's probably, now that I think about it, that's probably why I ate so much. And I was feeling a little snacky this day. So, I had some gluten-free Oreos or whatever. All right. So 1,800 calories, not bad, not bad. Next day, I'm at 1,400 calories. I still did not meet my protein goal of 136 grams. I only had 70 grams. Now, this is important because I was just complaining about my hair shedding yesterday, right? So if I'm not paying attention to the amount of protein that I'm eating, that could be contributing to the thinning of my hair as well. We already know this is a side effect being on Tirzepatide, but my hair had been in recovery actually for some time, and that's probably just because I was, manipulating it less. And now I straighten it more. So I could be having some heat damage going on or whatever, but it also could be my diet. Like if I'm not getting enough protein, there's no way I'm going to be able to keep the hair that I have left. So I have to be considerate of that. So 70 grams of protein, that's about half of what I'm aiming for the day. But I was in a calorie deficit that day, so that worked out. Then Tuesday, I barely ate for some reason. Let's see if I have a note that tells me why I barely ate. So back to Monday, I took my injection that evening. Oh, that's probably why I barely ate on Tuesday. Okay, that makes sense. Whenever I take my injection, I can't really get much food down the next day. I didn't have a lot of water, which makes sense, with Tirzepatide and water intake. I had about 40 ounces of water, which is not a lot. And I only had 670 calories this day, the day after shot day. Sunshine says, do you notice the difference in taste with the gluten-free Oreos? Never tried it. Oreo got this correct. Nabisco. They're Nabisco, right? I'm saying Oreo as if Oreo's the company. I think it's Nabisco. Or is it what company has Oreo? I don't know. But they got this right. They got this right. Like I remember 10 years ago trying to eat gluten-free foods and it was horrendous. Now, to be clear, gluten-free doesn't mean healthy. Like if you don't really have a reason, like as far as like trying to avoid flour, traditional flours, then it's up to it would be up to the person whether or not they would want to do it. But it's a very slim difference. It's a difference, right? Like if you're a fatty like me, you're gonna notice a difference, but I think I've gotten so used to them that it doesn't even, it never phased me from the beginning, but it damn sure don't phase me now. Like the difference, if you put them side by side, then I would say yes. But if you haven't had a regular Oreo in some time, I'm not so sure that the difference is going to be that easy to pick up on. Like it's not gross. They're actually delicious. They're really, really good. Chips Ahoy, I'm not sure about, but them gluten-free Oreos, I like the double stuffed. Yeah, those are bussin'. All right. So Tuesday, the day after shot day, my calories dropped significantly to 670. And I don't have any notes for this day. The next day, I actually did good. I don't know how I managed to pull this off. Oh, I had a calorie dense breakfast. That's what happened. Okay. All right. So on Wednesday, this is 2 days after shot day, I ate close to, damn near 1,600 calories. And what was my protein? 112 grams. That's better. That is better. That's a lot better. And then I have some notes on this day. So this is the day that I went to see my doctor, and we're going to go over my doctor's visit later. But one thing that's important about this particular day is that I started an additional medication that I will talk about later. So I just had to put that in the notes as well because I'm trying to monitor my symptoms. And this was the day, this is 2 days after shot day. This was the day that I ended up working from bed. I put a note in here that I had post-injection fatigue and I had to work from bed. I just could not get out of bed. So 1,600 calories on a day that I didn't even really want to get out of bed other than to go to the doctor. Don't know how I pulled that off, but I dig it. Thursday, right? So this is the day before weigh-in day. I'm at 900. Let's just round up. I'm at 1,000 calories. And I don't even know how I ended up here. Like this makes no sense because I was under for all of my goals. So I was under for protein, 54 grams. I was under for carbs, 50 grams. I was under for fat, 54 grams. So I didn't meet any of my goals. And I was about 200 calories under my caloric goal. But I don't know. It's just like I barely ate this day, but still almost ended up making my calories for the day. So I don't even know. I don't even know how that happened. Okay. And then the last day, Friday. Technically, this would be after the weigh-in, but I'll go ahead and give it to you anyway since it's here. I had almost 1,400 calories, and again, another really low protein day, 44 grams. So that means there's too much processed junk going on in my diet, right? Even if it is food, there's too much calorie, like there's too many foods that I'm eating that aren't very nutrient dense. So I am getting the calories for the most part for most of the week. Um, I am getting my calories for most of the week, but those calories are mostly made up of carbs and fat, which is not a good sign. Like that's not. I need to bring the protein up and drop the carbs some so that my diet is more balanced. I ended up having pizza this day because I was out and about doing my hair, getting my nails done. So I just ended up eating outside the house, and most of those calories came from me eating a couple of slices of pizza. So that's what happened with that. So now that we see that for most of the week, I would say I met my caloric goals. My protein has suffered significantly. I have to figure out how to get more protein into my diet because I mean, like 44 grams is just ridiculous. Like you're not even trying. That's one protein shake with the protein shakes that I drink, you know, like, so it's like you're just eating carbs the rest of the day. Like what is happening there? But I ended up weighing in, and I think that my weigh-in was more positive from me being able to get through some of that constipation for the day. For the week, actually. I was able to get, relieve a lot of that constipation. So I weighed in at 167.1. So I am back down this week. Last week, I went up from 167 to 170. I am now back down and still working to resolve the constipation. So that was a close call. Okay. Like I was on the verge of panic, but I knew, like, because y'all be getting on me about going to the bathroom. I knew that I could not necessarily count last week's weigh-in, but I still wanted to be consistent. So, and also, who knows, had I kept my same weigh-in day for this week, like had I waited until Sunday, maybe I would have been down to 166, 165. Who knows? But we've officially changed our weigh-in day to Friday. So now when I go live on Saturdays, you guys will have the most accurate weigh-in, okay? So that's my Lose It diary for the week. If you have any feedback or any questions, let me know in the comments. Now, we're going to get into Dr. Spencer. Okay. Do I want to get into my doctor's visit first? No. No, we're going to get into my doctor's visit after. We're going to listen to Dr. Spencer Nadolski first. Okay. Now, is anybody, if you would like to share, right? If you would like to share, is anybody combining Tirzepatide with another therapy, like another pharmaceutical intervention for either weight loss or for any other like conditions you may have? If you want to share, is anybody combining Tirzepatide with anything else? Because up until this point, I have only been on a GLP-1 solely for weight loss. Like I wasn't even on it for type 2 diabetes. I don't have any high blood pressure medication. I don't have, I don't really take anything else. Right. I'm trying to think of like what else I could potentially be taking. But yeah, up until this point, I haven't been taking anything else. And now I am. I'm taking a new medication, which we will talk about later in the stream. But we have to go over Dr. Nadolski first, okay? So is YouTube glitching for y'all? Are you okay, Nicole? Did you get it worked out? Thank you, Reindeer. Oh, you're actually here, Reindeer. Did you catch the playback? I know it was kind of long, okay? I know. So yes, ma'am, the homie and some Vyvanse. Sorry. I think there was a autocorrect or something. Some Vyvanse. Not sure if that's a trigger word or not. Oh, okay. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure. You know what? Maybe I should just look up what that is. Because somebody said that. Somebody said that yesterday. I didn't know what they were talking about. Hold on. BI. And if I have anybody new watching, please don't be shy. Come out of the clouds and say hello into the chat. I promise we don't bite except on Wednesdays when I'm not here. So it's probably Jen biting at that time. Oh, okay. It's a stimulant. Okay. Used to treat ADHD. Moderate to severe. I see what you were doing. Okay, it's used to treat moderate hinge disorder as well. Okay, that makes sense. All right. You did watch it. Okay, all right. Got it. Oh, okay. So it was Nicole that said it yesterday. Okay, fine. Okay. So I was just wondering if anybody was combining any other therapies because up until this point I had not. All right. So let's get into the video that prompted this topic and prompted this live stream. Okay, if you haven't already, please like the stream. Why not share the stream? Okay, get some new people over here. So let's get into Dr. Spencer. I know when you say doctor, you should go by the last name, but I don't know why I like his first name, Spencer. So I always say Dr. Spencer or Spence. But Dr. Nadolski, he's known as Spencer Nadolski. We're going to get into his video that I honestly randomly stumbled upon. A few days ago, and I posted about it in the community, in the Venetian community. Now, I must say, I am not one that keeps up with how Tirzepatide symptoms are developing because I haven't had like many symptoms other than some fatigue and maybe some diarrhea, maybe some constipation, but I don't really keep up with the research on what Eli Lilly and their researchers are finding out about Tirzepatide along the way. I just have not kept up with that stuff. I did see recently that the FDA was looking to or has approved something like that, removing self-harm, the actual terminology for self-harm. Self-harm ideation, removing that as a warning from, I think, Ozempic or something like that. And that was a little side-eye to me because I recall hearing that, or at least reading about a lot of people having that impact with being on a GLP-1. I never really looked into why, but I did remember hearing that was a thing. So I'm like, why would they want to remove that? That sounds kind of dangerous. Well, from what I can tell, what the actual research says, no, I did not read it, but secondhand, from what I can tell, the actual research points more to if you are already predisposed to those symptoms, right? So if you already have symptoms of depression, if you already have a family history of these things, or an actual history yourself of these thoughts, they can be amplified. Or if you have, like I said, if you're predisposed to certain things, then other things can come up. But it doesn't actually, like, if you've never had an issue with depression or never had an issue with self-harm thoughts, or you don't have a family history of that, that's not really the demographic of people that is having issues with these things on a GLP-1. Okay. So you kind of have to already have a foundation for the most part, right? There are exceptions, but in general, the people that they're seeing the issues with are the people that already have like a foundation of some sort of mental health issues. So what is happening though is that it's on some of the higher doses of Tirzepatide in particular. I'm going to talk about Tirzepatide, but I think Dr. Nadolski is going to talk about GLP-1s in general. What tends to happen is that people start to lose their excitement or pleasure in doing things that they used to like to do. And they end up with this kind of general sense of feeling blah all the time. And when I posted about this in the community, there were a few of you that said you had experienced that as well. So I wanted to share the video that Dr. Nadolski created, and we're going to get into what Anhedonia actually is. So let me share. Dr. Spencer, I love him. He's so cool. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat.
Medicines cause depression? Well, find out today. I'm Dr. Spencer Nadolski, a triple board certified obesity specialist physician who has seen thousands of patients myself and have overseen tens of thousands of patients, if you include the doctors I've overseen over the years. There have been a lot of fear-mongering doctors and influencers out there claiming that these medicines cause suicidal ideations and depression. Some of this stems from some early reports showing that there may have been a signal in some of the early studies. In fact, the USA and the European agencies have looked into this to make sure that this is not the case. Most all weight loss medicines have these concerns or cautions in the prescribing or package inserts. Some of this stems from earlier drugs, such as rimonabant, that actually hit receptors, the cannabinoid receptors in the brain, the opposite of marijuana. And some of these people that were taking this drug in early studies showed increases in suicidal behavior. So as a caution, weight loss medicines have this in the package insert. So when it comes to the GLP-1 receptor agonists, what is actually the truth? Well, they've actually looked into this further, and it looks like, if anything, there is a benefit to mood, including depression. It also showed there wasn't any such a signal as suicidal ideations. And anecdotally, most of my patients do notice an improvement in their mood. I will say one caveat. When I was doing a research paper over tens of thousands of patients in our database, I actually found one person who quit because they were having some suicidal ideations. Now, this doesn't prove causality. However, I will discuss some of the biological plausibility that could be going into this, and I do think it's worth monitoring patients' moods when they're on these medicines. These medicines have very powerful effects on our dopamine system, our reward system in our brains. This is a very good thing for those with addictive-like behaviors. I had a viral video once, early 2020s, talking about this with a few of my patients who just completely quit drinking alcohol. Some patients noticed they stopped biting their nails, they stopped gambling, they had sex addictions that went away. In fact, these drugs are now being studied for the approval of alcohol and other types of drug cessation. Now, on the other hand, because these drugs have powerful effects on our reward system and dopamine, is it possible to get too much of that effect on some people? I do believe yes. I've referred to this as the Zepbound or Tirzepatide mez or Tirzepatide blaz. What you'll see with patients is that they begin having what's called like a flat affect. We call this anhedonia. It's not so much of a depression as it is just lack of complete emotion and motivation to do anything. You'll notice this when people get to that 10 to 15 milligram dose of Zepbound or Tirzepatide. They'll describe things as, I used to really like doing whatever, cooking, some sort of activity or hobby that they did. The one that I look at most is exercise. When patients say, they don't really feel like exercising anymore when they really felt like doing it early on in their journey, red lights start going up. When you start talking to these people further, it turns out that many of their other hobbies have also been affected. So what do I do in these patients? Well, if they're on the 15 milligrams, I generally bring them down. And a lot of times I bring them down to 10 milligrams because the 10 and 15 milligram, when you look at the studies of weight loss, they aren't that much different. So oftentimes when I bring them down from the 15 to the 10 milligram dose, they don't regain any weight. And in fact, sometimes they lose more weight because they're moving more. Once in a while, if the lowering the dose doesn't work, I have to add in something called bupropion, which is actually a dopamine and norepinephrine or noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor. So that means there's going to be more dopamine in the brain system. And I love getting these messages from patients going, wow, it worked. Now I feel like exercising. Now I feel like cooking or doing whatever hobby that they loved doing before. So if this is happening to you and you're on a high dose of tirzepatide or even semaglutide, we see it sometimes, Wegovy, then make sure you talk to your doctor about potentially changing the dose. It could be that it's something else. Maybe it's hypothyroidism. Maybe it's depression that's just worsening that has nothing to do with the medicine. But a lot of times I see with my own patients that it is absolutely the medicine. Again, for the most part, these drugs are pretty much a miracle. They are improving everybody's quality of life. However, sometimes at these higher doses, we do see some of this flatter effect from the strong effects on the brain. I think it's safe to say these drugs don't cause suicidal ideations, but we should be monitoring the mood. Again, I've seen one patient, and it wasn't even my patient, it was another physician's patient that I was looking at the records, and it did see this one case, but I don't think we can say that's cause and effect. So there you have it. I don't think these drugs are causing depression, but it's plausible that they are causing anhedonia. I see it anecdotally, clinically, and I believe this can be improved by just adjusting the dose and sometimes adding something like bupropion to the mix. Hope this helps. Share this with a friend or family member or anybody else who might be going through this journey with you.
Okay. Sorry about that. So it actually went into the next video and it's actually about It's actually about hair loss, and I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to listen to that one. So I'm just gonna have my camera off for just a few minutes, so I can like rest my eyes and take my glasses off and stuff like that, and turn off my light or whatever. Okay, so what did y'all think of this video? What did y'all think of his take on monitoring mood versus like actually having a overwhelming concern for self-harm thoughts? Now, when I have to tell y'all, maybe I should put it back on the screen so that I can actually tell you which part of this video was like, oh yes,
Do
we need to
GLP-1
talk.
medicines cause
Okay, so it was the part where he talked about exercise. Okay. Um, hold on.
milligram dose of Zepbound or Tirzepatide? They'll describe things as, I used to really like doing whatever, cooking, some sort of activity or hobby that they did. The one that I look at most is exercise. When patients say, yeah, they don't really feel like exercising anymore when they really felt like doing it early on in their journey, red lights start going up. When you start talking to these people,
It was at this moment when he mentioned the exercise. I knew that me and Zepbound 10 milligram needed to have a discussion, okay? Because I have talked, I think, at length for at least, I mean, since the beginning of my channel, really, but for at least the past, 9 months since going live, I have talked extensively about my struggles with SAD during this time of year. But, in general, overall, going to therapy to learn strategies to deal with generalized depression and anxiety. So I've never been medicated for it or anything, just, doing talk therapy, some CBT and all of that. Cognitive behavioral is it treatment or therapy, something like that. So one of the things that worked for me about, I guess it's going on 3 years now. One of the things that worked for me about 3 years ago, well before I was on a GLP-1, I was going through a really, really bad episode. And my symptoms were like through the roof. Like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to interact. I didn't want to do anything. It was just bad. And I resolved that by exercising, right? Until I felt better. Well, I tried that again, when I got on to a GLP-1, because I got on a GLP-1 at the end of the summer. So it was going into the fall, and I knew those symptoms of SAD were about to come up. So I struggled through my first fall and winter on a GLP-1, trying, I was in therapy, I was speaking to a dietitian, I was doing all of the things, and also trying to work out to help improve my mood. And it worked some, but never to the, extent that I needed it to work. Well, since being on a 10 milligram, there has been this extra component of my mood being off that I couldn't quite explain. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday. Now, he described it as the Tirzepatide or the GLP-1 blah or meh or, whatever. I have been feeling, can y'all tell I'm tapping my leg right now? I don't know if it's coming out in my voice. Y'all let me know, but I'm like tapping my knee. But anyway, I have been feeling for several months now a complete and utter lack of interest in pretty much anything, right? Now, because I already suffer from symptoms of depression and, having a bit of a like, being moody. Like the stream, if you're just coming in, please hit the like. And if you're new watching, please leave us a comment so we can welcome you properly. And if you'd like to become a member, you can click the link at the top of the chat. I'll have a members only stream at 9:30 Eastern time after this stream. So I've pretty much lost interest in a lot of different things, but that's not completely unusual, right? Like I've struggled with that before, just not wanting to do things, but my response to that has always been, well, do them anyway, right? Like do them anyway because your mind is trying to trick you. That's what happens with depression. You feel like you don't want to do certain things. Your body and your mind will tell you that you don't want to do certain things. But excuse me, the way that you get around it is to do those things anyway, right? So you may not want to go to work, but you go to work anyway. You may not want to work out, but you work out anyway. You may not want to eat or shower. We've talked about this before, but you have to do those things anyway. So that's typically, you know, a part of the process, a part of the therapy to still engage, right? And one of the things that came up for me in therapy was to make sure I stay engaged with my social circles, which I don't have. I don't have a social circle. So you guys are my social circle. So if it was up to me, I would have quit YouTube like a year ago. If it was up to me, I would have quit YouTube like a year ago because I just don't feel like it. Okay. But no, this is a part of the process to, like, you know, help improve mood. Well, since being on the 10 milligram, I honestly must say that nothing has worked. My usual strategy, I've been telling my therapist for months that I don't know what's wrong, but my usual strategy of just do it anyway is not working, right? Typically, you're feeling down in the dumps about something or you're feeling unmotivated about something, but by the time you actually get up and do it, you feel like relieved or, you know, happy, or you have some sort of feel good about the fact that you actually did it. I don't have that experience. Like, everything is pretty much, no, miserable would be a drag. I'm pretty indifferent about a lot of things and a lot of experiences. So for example, like, I'm completely and utterly unmotivated to work out. Now, I did get a trainer, so that was me trying to do the thing where I don't want to do it, but I do it anyway, and it has been a complete and utter struggle, like, to the point where once I got sick, about a month ago or a month and a half ago, once I got sick and I was out of the gym for 2 weeks, I couldn't even go back. I could barely go back. Like, I think I've been trying to restart going back to the gym for several weeks now, and I make it about 1 day during the week, and then I just crash and burn. Um, you know, getting out, socializing, or even traveling, right? I am a travel junkie. I love to travel, but I don't even get excited about travel anymore. So long story short, I've just been explaining to my therapist that I don't know what's wrong, but the usual, like, she just kept saying, stick to your routine, stick to your routines. And I'm just like, it's not working. Like, it's not working. On top of that, as I lose more weight, for some reason, the 10 milligram is feeling stronger, right? So typically you get on a dose and you get accustomed to it, right? I think pretty much anybody can describe or has experienced that. You get accustomed to your dose, and then once it feels like it's not working for you anymore, you titrate up. Well, that has not been my experience on the 10 milligram. I haven't gotten used to it in about 6 months. In fact, since losing the past 10 pounds, the 10 milligram has felt stronger. So my fatigue is more significant. My appetite suppression is more significant, right? I'm feeling more adverse to food rather than kind of adjusting and being comfortable with my dose. So that's something else that I've been going through. Basically, when I saw this video by Dr. Spencer, it just made me feel like this was something that I should be considering, because I will say that despite the fact that, yes, I suffer from symptoms of depression and SAD, right? But I could tell that this was not that. Like, I know how to work through those things, right? I just got to do the things that I don't want to do. And then eventually, you know, the more you do the work, the more the symptoms lift. Well, this other thing, this kind of like blah and just lack of interest, this feeling wasn't lifting. Like, nothing was fixing it. Nothing was working. The interest in doing certain things just wasn't coming back. So when I saw this video, it raised a couple of eyebrows for me. And luckily, I was already out of the 10 milligram. When I told y'all I was gonna wait until I was at maintenance, I didn't realize I was out of 10 milligram refills. I don't know why I thought I had like another 3 left or something, but no, I was out. So by the time I saw this video, I was already headed to the doctor anyway for a refill in a couple of days. And we're gonna get into what happened at that doctor's appointment and what me and my doctor talked about. But so far, has anyone else felt this way with being on Tirzepatide? So Sway says, I have seen a lot of studies about this. What is your take on the studies that you have read about this. Now, Jen says I lose on 10 milligram and she doesn't need to lose any more weight. So I guess titrating down would not be a good option. Okay. But do you think you have these symptoms, Jen? Is that what you're saying? Reindeer says, yeah, I've been struggling to get motivated to exercise since I started on the 12.5. I do force myself to walk daily, but it's a struggle. It's an absolute and utter struggle, right? Like, to me, there is a difference between like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, and like doing it anyway. And you're like, I'm glad I got that done, versus like, I don't want to do this. And then you force yourself. And then the process of forcing yourself is absolutely miserable. Like, I'm literally I think I literally got to the point where I'm like, I don't like the gym. Like, I just had to say, I don't like the gym. And I don't think that's even completely true, because it wasn't true for me before. You know, I just couldn't really get my energy under control. But I'm at a point now where I'm just like, man, I just don't want to work out. And I have been complaining about being like burnt out from this whole journey, but I think it's because I'm just not enjoying it anymore. Like, how many of you can say that at some point you actually enjoyed the process of losing weight? Or maybe if you didn't enjoy the process of losing weight, you actually enjoyed being on the other side of getting the weight off. Like, if you lost 10 pounds, it was exciting to be on the other end of that 10 pounds being gone. Or if you lost 40 pounds or whatever. I have lost interest in the weight loss. So now it feels like a chore. Everything, like from the time I wake up, everything is a chore. Like, getting out of the bed is a chore. Hygiene is a chore. Eating, cooking is a chore. Getting in the car, going anywhere is a chore. Working is a chore. YouTube is a chore. It's chore. Everything is a freaking chore. So, and I don't remember feeling like that. Like, we've talked about SAD before, and typically I'm so uncomfortable in the symptoms that there's a bit of motivation to get up and do something about it. Whereas this is different. Like, there's no even pleasure on the other side of doing something about it. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, typically when it's SAD or depression for me, there's a reward on the other side of doing the right thing, right? Because I'll get stimulated from that. But now it's like, I don't feel rewarded. Like, I don't feel good. Like, okay, so I went to the gym. I don't feel good about the fact that I went to the gym. I'm just glad I got that over with. Like, I don't feel good about the fact that I cooked the meal. I'm just glad I got that over it with and I didn't eat out. So yeah, that's literally how it's been for me for months. Brain fog as well. I don't know why he didn't mention. Maybe it's because that's not what this video was about. And I don't know if he's talked about this already, but has anybody else had brain fog on the higher doses of Tirzepatide? Jen says, have the symptoms, but going down will cause me to lose. Okay, so we're gonna talk about some other remedies today. Like, we're gonna do the research and see if we can find any other options. I force myself to do things. When you force yourself to do things, does it feel worth it? Like, do you feel the reward of whatever you forced yourself to do? Because I don't. It's like, oh my God, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I don't want to. I did enjoy it. I think this is why I'm struggling with maintenance. Okay. All right. So you did enjoy the journey. Okay. Going down to 10 made me stall. I did enjoy the weight loss journey up until I got to 12.5. I still have 30 pounds to lose. Okay. Kim says that's my concern with many things, the joy in the journey. Yeah, like, see, so, but this is before maintenance. Like, imagine the joy being taken out of it before maintenance, and you still have so much work to do. Like, it has been, I feel like I've been crawling, like I've been on my knees crawling, trying to get every single pound off. Now, there have been things that I've done to make it easier, like eating out less, right? So that's very, very low effort. You know, that's something that's very low effort that I can do to speed this process up. Drinking more water. That's not low effort. It takes much more effort, but it's something that I can do to somewhat speed this process up. Exercise. That is very high effort. That is very, very high effort. And when I'm just like, now, when y'all be getting on me about weight gain, right? And we, harp on the hormonal aspect of weight gain and how sometimes it's just completely out of our control. Not that I don't understand that. I totally understand that. But this would be the equivalent to that, right? Like, this is like, I know this is not correct. I know this is not the right way to feel, but my hormones are getting the best of me. And I didn't know that that's what was happening. And technically, I'm assuming that's what's happening based on the information given in his video, right? Based on the symptoms that I'm having. Nobody has felt the brain fog. I'm asking like 50 questions at once. So let me just ask this one. Has anyone had brain fog on Tirzepatide, brand or compound? If you are at a 10 milligram or above, has anyone experienced brain fog? Because I've been like cloudy. I've been cloudy for months, but I just thought it was like because I was tired all the time. I'm like, okay, clearly I'm not getting enough sleep. But I'm talking about like forgetting things, like I can't place names like off the top of my head. I'll forget what I was saying, and I'm just like, is Tirzepatide causing me to like lose my memory? Which is not funny. That's not funny. But now I'm not gonna lie, I have heard at least one person have this experience and they stopped taking the medication because of it. Like they're a bit like their short-term memory was like suffering so bad that they had to get off of the medication. So I'm a little concerned about that as well. But I've been having some serious brain fog. I'm still 100 pounds from goal 4 years in, and I'm freaking burnt out over this shit, but I refuse to stop pushing even if I don't want to or care. Exactly, right? Like, because I'm vain. So it's like, I don't care. I do care how tired I am. But before this moment, right? Before I saw this video, it was like, I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how burnt out I am. I'm getting this 25 pounds off. Like, I don't give a F. But man, it's hard. Like, it's hard. Interesting, V, because your weight loss has picked up and you're so close, but feeling diminished joy in the process. That's what I'm saying. Like, my weight loss has picked up. I think 1 from getting a personal trainer, and 2 from doing a lot of obvious stuff, like taking fast food, like taking the reduction of fast food seriously. That's one thing that I have been doing, plus the exercise. Plus, like I said, my water intake. I don't necessarily think increasing water directly leads to weight loss, but it's a good habit to have. So I think because I've been so burnt out, I've kind of been on this tip of like, okay, I can't afford to necessarily half-ass it. So half-assing it would mean, for me, would mean not working out at all. Half-assing it would mean eating out several times a week. I've been doing that my whole journey. Like, I've been eating out. Sometimes I cook, but most of the time I would eat out. Still eating tons of sugar. That's another thing that I've been taking seriously, reducing my sugar. I have significantly, up until we got snowed in and had those gummy bears and Oreos, but I have significantly reduced my sugar, and not from like deprivation, just again, realizing it's not that fucking serious. It's not going on anywhere. It's just sugar. It's just junk food. It'll be there. It's not going anywhere. You don't need to have it every day. So reducing my sugar from, several snacks a week down to just an iced coffee where it's sweet has helped a lot as well. So I've done things that has helped, kind of propel me forward. But there's no joy. There's no joy. Like, I'm not really getting the pleasure out of any of this. Like, this is actually borderline miserable. Like, this is borderline insufferable. Like the stream, please, if you haven't already. I have brain fog, but I attribute it to being perimenopausal, not the Zep. Okay. Listen, I don't know. No, I don't have brain fog. Yeah, I've been having some serious, like, I'm talking like in the middle of me speaking, just gone. Like, whatever I was about to say, just gone. Like, I'm talking about waking up and I can't immediately recall what day it is. Like, I will wake up and have to look at my calendar because it'll take, like, there's like a delay. Like, I can't immediately recall what day it is. Like, my brain fog has been so bad on the 10 milligram. Like, it's been bad. It's been bad. I had these symptoms on the 10 milligram, but I don't have a problem with working out. I know I will feel better afterwards. When I come home, I do absolutely nothing. I'm on my, there's a typo in there. I'm not sure with the rest, what you were trying to say with the rest, Pat. This journey is a lifetime thing. We shouldn't stop once we reach goal weights. Stop what? We shouldn't stop what? We shouldn't stop Zepbound. We shouldn't stop a GLP-1, or we shouldn't stop like what do you mean? What should we not stop? I definitely had brain fog before Tirzepatide. Oh, okay. Because you had a different condition that was causing the brain fog. Okay. Have you been getting enough sleep? I'm sorry, I cannot see your name because my eyes are so blurry. Like I told you, I think my prescription has changed with weight loss. Has anybody else had that issue? Hello, Carla. Thank you for the comment. Have you been getting enough sleep? So, enough sleep, technically, yes. By the hour, yes, right? So like I can get 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, but the quality of my sleep since being on Zepbound has been shit. I don't necessarily think it's the Zepbound causing my sleep to be poor though. I think I have I think I had poor sleep from being overweight. Like, so that was me at my highest weight. Why my sleep has not improved, I even did TMJ therapy to try to help, with my sleep. Why my sleep has not improved over the past 18 months, I'm not sure, but I think that, like, I even started tracking my sleep with an Oura Ring recently, and my Oura Ring, like my statistics from tracking my sleep says that I'm getting good sleep. But as far as feeling refreshed, I haven't been feeling that. My brain fog is so much better than it was when I first started. But perimenopause. Okay. All right. But eating out, snacks, etc., were dopamine hits, and now it's no longer there. That's actually a good point. Wait, are you talking about like recently? Or are you talking about since the start of my journey? Because that's actually a good point. But I've been feeling this sense of like, well, one, the brain fog I've been feeling for months, but also this sense of like kind of just like a lack of interest in doing things. I've been feeling that way for months as well. Jen doesn't get any sleep. Okay. My vision has changed, V, since I was like 25. It's changed every year. You know what? I thought it was me, but technically that's been happening to me too. Like my prescription changes every year, but this is the best prescription that I have had. So like I have been reluctant to change it, but I've also noticed that my vision has been changing with the weight loss. I don't know if it's directly related, but it has been changing. Same, the quality of sleep since starting TERS has decreased. Yeah, I know you meant for me. I was just trying to figure out at what time, like what time frame you were talking about. Were you talking about recently, or were you talking about over the course of my weight loss journey? I don't know if I'm anemic. I'm gonna find out when I go get. I mean, I don't think I am, because I'm pretty sure a doctor would have caught it by now if I was. But who knows? I'll talk about that when I get my next blood work labs done. So, okay, so it sounds like Dr. Nadolsky is basically saying that this is something that could be happening. Like he doesn't feel like Tirzepatide is causing depression. He doesn't feel like, or the research is pointing toward there are no self-harm ideations or depression linked to GLP-1 usage, but there is a concern for monitoring mood. And because I already suffer from mood disorders, I think that there is a chance that Tirzepatide might be making that. I don't even know if I would say making it worse, or it's manifesting in a different way. I'm not really sure which one it is, but I definitely think it's something worth considering. So let's look into the actual definition of anhedonia really quickly. Let's just look into the actual definition for the sake of clarity, and then we'll see if there are any remedies for it, because he mentioned a pharmaceutical, but let's see if there are any non-pharmaceutical interventions. And he also mentioned titrating down, which one person has already said like that's not a good option. But I think a lot of people feel that way, especially if they're not done losing weight. So what am I? Okay, so I want to see the actual definition of anhedonia. Okay. And I had it on my thumbnail as well. Nope, that's not it. That's not the right screen. Vanity, let's get it together. All right. So it says, and I'm going to zoom all the way in because I'm blind. It says anhedonia is the reduced ability or inability to experience pleasure, often characterized by a loss of interest in previously enjoyed activities and emotional numbness. Now, my reduction in junk food and sugar has only been for the past like few weeks, like I'd say probably 2 to 3 weeks. I highly doubt that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that that has contributed to how I'm feeling, but I was already feeling this way before I started reducing the junk food in my diet. So if anything, you know, maybe having those dopamine hits from the junk food maybe blunted some of the effect from this, but who knows? It's primarily caused by dysfunction in the brain's dopamine driven reward system. Symptoms include apathy, social withdrawal. I got that. Reduced motivation, often linked to depression, PTSD, or substance withdrawal. Okay. All right. So it says there are 2 main categories: social, reduced pleasure, and social interactions. I have no, okay. Well, maybe this is a bit dramatic. Me? No, I don't smoke, Sunshine. You might be confusing me with another content creator. Sunshine says recently you have significantly reduced. Oh, you said snacking. I'm sorry. I thought you said smoking. I'm like, smoking. Am I remembering correctly? Big push for the past 3 months. Yeah, I would say past month. I've been talking about it for months, but I didn't actually start taking it seriously until after the new year. But yes, I would say so. Anemia is especially an issue for many women during their cycle and causes brain fog and short-term memory conversion issues. Okay, so I can talk to my doctor about that because I don't know. I've never been clocked for anemia, but yeah, we'll definitely have to talk about that. So reduced pleasure in social interactions, but like I've had that before the 10 milligram. If anything, I'd say it's gotten worse, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the 10 milligram causing it. It's just something to for me to be aware of. And physical, reduced enjoyment of sensory experiences like food or music. I haven't had, I haven't had, sensory experiences. Has anybody, I mean, I don't, maybe we need to, no, I'll save that question for the members only. I was going to ask, like, I'll still ask it, but we're not going to have a full blown discussion about it. Has anybody experienced like a loss of libido or like less interest in intimacy or sex or anything like that? Y'all can let me know in the chat, but I won't have a full blown conversation about it. Delilah says you've also had a lot of chaos in your life in the past few months. Those things can cause this too. Okay, if we're talking about like the fire and stuff, and you know, people passing away, yeah, but that was like back towards September, October, which you know was in the past 6 months. But yeah, I mean, you know, the moving around, the house sitting, all of that. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Like I don't know. Okay, so causes. And the reason, like, not to be dismissive, Delilah, but the reason that I'm saying that is because I don't think like they're at a certain point, things that have happened like, you know, 6, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, I don't think is necessarily the primary contributor to what I would be experiencing now. But that is definitely something to consider. And I like to think that I've done a lot of work in therapy so that, you know, the actual physical things that were happening in my life, you know, like let's say that instability, I feel like I've done a lot of work in therapy to make sure that those things, you know, have as little of an impact as possible, or at least that I know how to manage, you know, how those things made me feel. Okay, so wow, I lost my page. Okay, so key causes include chemical imbalances in the brain, dopamine, serotonin, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, chronic stress, and substance abuse detox. All right. Risk factors: individuals with mental health conditions, chronic illness, neurological diseases, or those experiencing severe stress are at higher risk. Now, well, let's go back because see, Delilah always saying something right before I read it. So now let's go back to Delilah's comment because this would be accurate. When you said those things can cause this too, were you talking about the anhedonia? Did I misread your comment? Were you saying, was your point to say what I just read, which is that high stress situations can cause this? I think I might have misread your comment, but you can clear it up for me because if that's what you were saying, then I understand a bit better. Because I don't really have a way to like measure my stress. But I know that I am a very anxiety filled person. I do know that. I do know I have been in some stressful situations over the past few months, like I think that Delilah was implying. So yeah, so that I would think. But like I said, my method to dealing with that has been exercise and therapy. The problem is those things went from working to not working. So why? I know nobody in the well, I don't know if there are any doctors in the chat. I'm not looking for medical advice, but just in your opinion, why do you guys think that some things would go from working to not working for some of these symptoms? Because that's mostly what I'm concerned about. But not just me, like anybody else. This is not just about me. I just happen to be talking about me on the channel, but anybody else, I want to give the information in case anybody else has been feeling this way on a GLP-1 and was just kind of living with it for the sake of getting the weight off. Because let me tell you something. Yes, I want to get this weight off, but I don't want to live like this for the rest of my life. I just have to say it. Like, I cannot live with this level of fatigue for the rest of my life. I cannot live with this level of brain fog for the rest of my life. I cannot live with a lack of pleasure in doing things for the rest of my life. I wouldn't say that I don't enjoy just nothing or anything, but for the most part, it's like the idea of being in a group of people just makes me want to pass out. When I went to that trip in Georgia to visit my best friend for her birthday, I stressed about this trip for months. I stressed about this trip for months because I did not want to go. I did not want to socialize. And it wasn't her that I was concerned about. It was like the idea of being around other people because I was like, well, it's not like we're going to be cooped up in a room for a weekend, which honestly, it turned out being that way and it was a lot of fun. But I really didn't want to go because I didn't want to be around people. I just didn't. I have some things coming up that I'm supposed to be going to. And I'm back at the beginning of like, I have zero desire, none whatsoever to interact with other people. So that's a pretty big deal for me. But then there's things like, you know, things that I'm supposed to enjoy. Like I said, like travel. I have a huge trip coming up pretty soon and I have no like interest in that. Oh, sorry guys. My StreamYard is doing that thing that it was doing yesterday. It was going so well, and then now it's stopping again. It's doing that thing, it like where the comments are not coming through on my end. There's like a delay, so I'm not sure why that's happening. Maybe the Wi-Fi here is just not that great. It may not be. I'm sorry, Delilah. I couldn't see your comment in StreamYard. It says, Yes, ma'am. It may not be the primary, but it could be the straw that broke the camel's back type of thing. Regardless, I hope you begin to get some joy back. It's awful to live a life of numbness. Yes. Okay. All right. So that's what you were trying to say. Okay. So you were trying to say that the stress can cause the anhedonia. Okay. I got you now. I got you. Okay. I kind of thought I was missing like the middle piece. I thought you were saying like stuff that happened months ago is the reason why I don't want to do things now. But there's a middle piece of like, no, that stuff would cause the antidote. I get it. I'm slow. Okay. I told y'all like my brain just whatever. Anyway. So, all right. So now that we know what that is, I think it's something to keep an eye out for. Especially, okay, now come here. Come a little close. Okay. Come a little closer. All right. If you don't have a history of mental health issues, then potentially this is not something that you need to be concerned about. But if you do, right? If you have any type of mood disorders, or you are in a stressful environment, or you have a lot of stressors in your life, or a lot of changes happening in your life, you could potentially be at higher risk. And this is just based on how tirzepatide works in the brain, right? It does deal with down-regulating some of that dopamine, some of that reward. So we don't want, like, we always look at it in the aspects of food, right? So, I don't want sugar as much. I don't want fried food as much. I don't care about food as much, right? I don't know if we ever actually talk about how that's happening, right? We talk about the GLP and the GIP as far as appetite suppression, but what about desire? What about craving? What about anticipation? Like, that goes away too for the most part. Like, for the most part, we don't, especially when you get to the higher doses, we don't really think about food. Not really. I mean, some of us do, but for the most part, it's just not even a thing that we really think about. So we look at that as a positive, okay? We look at that as a positive and take it for what it's worth. But what about the other things that are being removed as far as like desire and pleasure and anticipation? It never dawned on me that if my desire or interest in food is being taken away, or certain junk food or food groups, if my interest in that is being taken away, why would my interest in other things not be taken away? So, for example, one of the things that I loved about the 10 milligram, and I technically still do, is that for 3 to 4 days out of the week, I don't even care about food. I still eat, as we saw in my log. Don't come for me, okay? But if it was up to me, I guess technically it is. But if I had zero accountability, I just wouldn't eat for the first like 3 days of the week. And I'm pro fasting, but that doesn't feel like a fast. That feels like ignoring food. You know what I mean? That doesn't feel intentional. That feels more like my mind is playing, or my body is playing tricks on me. So it's one of my favorite things about being on a 10 milligram. It's just like the thought of food is just, it's gone. And if I do think about food, it's because I'm trying to be responsible and track and do things like that, right? But just like desire, it's gone. And honestly, part of that feels good. I would say I definitely don't want that every day for the rest of my life, but 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days out of the week where that desire for looking for food as a crutch is just gone, I do enjoy that. But now, with that being said, what about the other things? Okay, like, what about the other things that we enjoy doing? Some of us were or are emotional eaters. Okay, so eating for enjoyment, like Sunshine said, with the dopamine hit. All right, so we kind of reduce the eating for enjoyment. That's a part of being on the GLP-1. But what if we reduce hanging out with people? What if we reduce exercise? What if we reduce things that we really, going for walks, things that we really used to like to do, cooking, shopping, whatever. Like, what if we stop doing those things? I'm not gonna lie. Now, Sunshine got me thinking now, because yes, I have pushed for less of the junk food eating, which is reducing that I'm not getting that dopamine hit. But y'all know what I've also been doing? You know what I've also been doing? I have not been spending money. I have not been spending money, and y'all know that is my guilty pleasure. That is my purposeful dopamine hit. I am a junkie. I know that. I know that I have a shopping problem. Like, I know that when I go shopping for things that I don't need, things that I just want, I know I'm doing that for the sense of reward. Like, I'm doing that for the pleasure that it does give me. So I am capable of feeling pleasure, right? But I have to do dopamine stimulating things in order to get it, right? So now we can possibly get into some remedies now that we know what we're potentially dealing with and the tirzepatide impact on dopamine. Now let's see if we can consider any remedies. Have you had your vitamin D levels checked? If not, consider it, because low vitamin D can cause some of the things you mentioned. Okay. It was about a year ago. But I'll have another blood panel done in 6 weeks. I'm going to leave. I'm clocking out, guys. I wish I could stay longer, but I'm going to have to clock out. I really do. I could come back, but I'm not a member. Okay, Andrew, have a good night. And don't worry, we're just going to be talking about some pharmaceuticals. You're not going to miss anything, because it's not a medication that you would be taking, Andrew. So good night, and thank you for joining us. Okay. So yes, that's another dopamine hit. Yes. So I haven't been shopping as much. Okay. I haven't been shopping as much. I haven't been eating the junk food. All right. So I think if anything, it's becoming more noticeable, if anything. But I've been feeling this way for at least since last summer. I've been feeling this way. And that's also when I started the 10 milligrams. So all right, so let's talk about remedies. Are there any remedies to this? If this is a thing that, I mean, it is a thing that people are experiencing, but if this is a thing that is being caused potentially by higher doses of tirzepatide, now I'm gonna rapid fire y'all with a bunch of questions, okay? But I already know what the answers are to some of it, okay? Okay, so if you were experiencing or are experiencing a sheer and utter lack of interest in doing things and pleasure, could you live with that for the rest of your life? Because we have all mostly agreed to be Zepbound lifers. So now we need to revisit that stance on being a Zepbound lifer, right? So if we are Zepbound lifers, are y'all saying that y'all are comfortable potentially with the idea of just not being interested in anything for the rest of your life? Or I'll say most things, or at least the things that you used to like. What do y'all think about that? I've noticed that the snacks or foods I really enjoyed before that just didn't hit the same way for me anymore. I didn't have that problem for the longest time. Like, some foods do still hit the same, which is why I've been effing around, honestly, my whole journey. Like, it's been a slow grind to gradually reduce a lot of these things in my diet. It's been a slow grind, and you know what? It's been worth it. It's been worth it. Like, this past few weeks has been interesting because I think the lack of pleasure is louder now that I'm not, coping is a good word, coping with shopping or eating, right? Because I'm first of all, this journey is officially exhausting. Like, 10 milligrams Zepbound is exhausting. It's making me extremely fatigued. Monitoring my weight, monitoring my food, trying to eat enough food is exhausting. So the whole experience is exhausting, right? So I'm so tired and I'm so exhausted or burnt out with the journey that I just don't have it in me to do stupid stuff. Like, like, I don't have it in me to be, because I want to get it over quickly. Like, I'm officially at that point where I just want to get this 25 pounds off. I just want to get it off. I just want to get it off so I can live a normal life. Okay. I just want to get it off so I can live a normal life. But like, man, I'm pretty much over it. Okay, so Dr. Spencer mentioned bupropion, brand name Wellbutrin, as something that he will include for some people, but that wasn't his first line of defense. His first line of defense was titrating down. So what do we think about titrating down? Now, Kim says no to the first question. No, I need passion and joy in my life. I think I would work on reducing my dose. Okay, so that answers my question. But the rest of you, let me know. So if you were having this experience, would titrating down be an option for you? Because Jen said no, because that's going to make her lose more weight. That's going to make her lose more weight. So titrating down would not be an option for her. I would say titrating down. I was already thinking about titrating down before I even heard about this, but this gives me, more ammunition or more of a reason, I will say, to feel like I want to titrate down. Now when I was doing some, actually, let me share my screen again, because when I was doing some research, one thing that I did see was okay, so let's go back. We didn't go over treatment, okay? So it says, while not inherently permanent, treatment involves treating underlying conditions such as using antidepressants, psychotherapy, e.g., cognitive behavioral therapy, which is what I was telling y'all about earlier. I've been doing that for the past 2 years. And lifestyle adjustments to boost dopamine. It's highlighted. Let's just see what it says. Let's see what it says. Let me share this other screen. Let's just see what it says. Oops, nope, that's not what I want. I know you're not going to be able to read this, so I'm going to read it to you. So it says, how is anhedonia treated? Currently, go away. Currently, there are no specific treatments targeted at anhedonia. However, modifying lifestyle habits and treating the underlying causes may help. Okay. Strength training and aerobic activities, I would agree. And that's because they generate adrenaline and dopamine, which can provide both temporary relief and be an important part of a long-term treatment. I would agree with that. We're going to skip the substance abuse part and talk about see a psychiatrist, psychologist, or other mental health professional. It is common for mental health professionals to use cognitive behavioral therapy, a form of talk therapy, to help treat anhedonia. CBT allows individuals to become aware of and alter their negative thinking, as well as respond to challenging situations in a more effective manner. Right? So like whenever I find myself, I don't know, there have been times where I've come on here telling y'all how I was annoyed with my therapist because of some homework she gave me. But with CBT, it can be very effective, but it takes so much accountability. Like it requires you to be so self-aware, right? So like if you're having a moment of being in a stressful environment, you kind of have to find different ways of coping. Or sometimes it's just as simple as talking through a scenario and talking through how something makes you feel or what you could do differently. So it can be very effective, I would say. That's how I got through a lot of my SAD symptoms. And well, for SAD, I would say it's more of the physical stuff, right? Like the strength training and things like that. That used to work for me really well. But when it's more generalized depression symptoms, then the CBT can be very effective, talking through things. So combining those two things, I think that's, I think that's an effective remedy, basically stimulating your dopamine. But how the problem is you ain't motivated to do shit. So it's like an endless loop. It's like a death spiral where you have to like, your dopamine is impacted and you're not motivated to do stuff. But in order to be motivated to do stuff, you got to stimulate your dopamine. But in order to stimulate your dopamine, you got to be motivated to do stuff, but you're not motivated. It's like an endless loop, right? Like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And I would say for a long time, just ignoring that feeling and getting up and doing whatever it is I didn't want to do would work. I'm at a point where that doesn't work. And I'm wondering why. I've been wondering for months, why is this not working? Typically, I don't want to work out. Who cares? Go work out. I feel better after the workout. I don't want to do whatever particular thing. I do it and I feel better. And now that it's done, but that hasn't been working for me lately. Okay. Nope. Kim says, nope, I need passion to enjoy my life. I think I will reduce my dose to find the sweet spot. Okay. But what's the rush? What will happen after the 25 pounds are gone? So the rush was I wanted to get off of the 10 milligram, like, because originally I said I wasn't going to get off of the 10 milligram until I was done losing weight because I'm tired. This whole experience is tiresome. And it is a rush. Like I understand that there shouldn't be a rush, but I've been at this for 18 months and I'm over it. Like the rush is I don't want to quit. I don't want to quit. And I'm on the, like, I literally feel like I'm on my hands and knees crawling. Weight loss is tiring. Zepbound is exhausting. The financial strain is exhausting. Not that that part would necessarily change with maintenance, but it's just like I'm at a point where I've been focused on one objective for so long that I'm pretty much just over it. Like I'm ready for something else to be the priority in my life because weight loss has been the priority for the past year and a half. I would consider going down. I only lose 2 to 3 pounds. No big deal. Okay. All right. So we're talking titrating now. Okay. The healthy lifestyle journey is boring. Especially explore titrating down. Okay. If I thought my dose was causing me misery, I would make some sort of change. However, I would investigate other possible physical issues as well as changing my dose. Okay. What you're feeling could be mostly psychological. That's what anhedonia is, though. It's a psychological based, like, I don't even want to say disorder, but condition, right? But that's what, if you're talking to me, Sydney, I don't know if you're talking to somebody in the chat, but that's my point. What I'm feeling is psychological. And the ways that I have done with that have been physical intervention to deal with, that, or talk therapy through CBT. So I'm not really sure. I might be missing something. Get new labs, vitamin D, thyroid, etc. Yeah, I'm getting my labs done in about 6 weeks. Okay. I'm getting my labs done in about 6 weeks. People can experience psychological adjustments because they have finally lost the weight that they've attempted to lose for a very long time. What you're feeling could also be mostly oh, are you talking about with the exhaustion? Oh, is that what you were talking about? With the exhaustion with the weight loss? No, that's definitely psychological too. Like I'm physically exhausted as well, but like emotionally, 100% Sydney, emotionally, if I'm understanding you right, emotionally and psychologically, I'm burnt. I'm done. I'm over it. But I'm also vain, so I gotta get the other 20 pounds. So like I could quit right now, but it's like, what for? Like I don't believe in being overweight. I don't want to be overweight. I have a tool that can get me where I'm going. So it's like, why quit now? But it's like being in school, honestly. Oh, okay. So you were saying that psychological doesn't necessarily mean it's the Zepbound causing your problems. That is possible, but I wanted to talk about it anyway because like I said, I can't confirm that this is what I'm experiencing. Like, how do you confirm any psychological issue, right? Like how do you confirm that? You do it via evaluation with an actual doctor. There's not a blood test that's going to tell you if you have anhedonia. There's not a blood test that's going to tell you if you have depression. So it's like there is no real way for me to tell if it's the Zepbound except to change what I'm doing. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the members only stream, right? At least that's how I think about things, right? Like when I don't know what's going on with me and then I get an idea based on, something that I've heard from a doctor, I'm not afraid, like I will simply make changes and see if it works. I will. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. This is one of those times where I'm like, that sounds correct. Like that sounds accurate about what I'm experiencing. Can I confirm it's the Zepbound? No. But if I titrate down and I suddenly feel better, then it's safe to say that it was the Zepbound. Or if I start, stimulating my dopamine more, then it's safe to say I'm having an issue with the dopamine. But yeah, so that's how I feel about that. Okay, so we have the pharmaceutical intervention of antidepressants, we have CBT, and we have physically just getting up and doing stuff that you don't want to do. And I will say that for me, once upon a time, getting up and doing stuff worked. Now, not so much. Like now, everything is for the most part a chore. So we're gonna get into this being my last dose on the 10 milligram. Next week will be my last dose on the 10 milligram. If you haven't already, please like the stream. If you completely stop step, go 3 to 6 months, hence you'd have the data for comparison. I'm not there yet. I'm not at the point where I feel like I need to get off of Zepbound. I will say though, like compared to like, so let's use the question that I asked before as a reference of like, would you be willing to live this way for the rest of your life? If it turns out that it is Zepbound and you know you're having this issue, would you be willing to live this way for the rest of your life? And then we went into some ways to resolve that. I will say, if there is anything happening with me, or if anything happens to me or with me in the future that is Zepbound related that I cannot live with, I will get off of Zepbound. It's that simple. It's that simple. Like, I am a Zepbound lifer, right? But I'm not so much of a lifer that if I clearly can tell that something is wrong, that I'm gonna just keep taking it, especially if I'm already done losing weight. Like, I will find another way to keep that weight off. Okay. But I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I'm at the point where it's like, oh my God, Zepbound is causing brain fog and fatigue and I have no interest in doing anything. Let me get off of it. No, I'm pretty sure that I should at least try titrating down first, which is what we're about to get into. And then the other thing we'll talk about on the members only stream. Let's say you physically feel better but don't lose any weight. Do you stay on a 7.5? No. That's what I was talking to my doctor about. And it's not just physically, right? It's like emotionally and mentally. It's mostly emotionally and mentally. Like, but for some reason the other interventions haven't been working. If I get on the 7.5 and I can't lose any weight for a couple of months, like I'm patient enough to give it some time. If I get down to 7.5 and I don't lose any more weight, then I will go back up to the 10 because maybe some time off of the 10 will be enough for me to get a fresh start. I don't know. I'm guessing. I have no idea. But I did tell my doctor that if for some reason I can't lose any more weight on a 7.5, then I will go back up to the 10. There was something else about that. If I start to gain weight also, immediately, if I start to gain weight, right? We've seen my weight fluctuate about 3 to 5 pounds, but so that's normal for me. 10 pounds is not normal. For me to step on the scale and see 7, 8, 10 pounds, that's not normal. For me to step on a scale from Sunday to Sunday and see 3 to 4 pounds, even 5 pounds, that's normal. And then it just comes right back off. So I have to consider a stall and I have to consider weight gain potentially, which is, things that I have to keep in mind for titrating down. All right. So originally I talked about, I knew I've been talking about for weeks how I'm pretty much done with the 10 milligram and I was going to stay on it until I got the last 25 pounds off because I didn't want to risk stalling out on my progress. That was before I realized I needed to get some refills. Okay. So when I realized I needed to get, I was out of refills for the 10 milligram and I had to schedule an appointment. I'm seeing a new doctor, not by choice. My old doctor just left, I guess. But the new doctor wanted to get vitals before giving me any more refills on the 10. Because if it was up to me, I would have just met with her virtually and just had her send the 10 milligram script right back to Eli Lilly and just stayed on the 10. But she wanted me to come in to do vitals and all of that. So I was a little torn, especially considering the fact that I don't live in North Carolina, but my doctor's in North Carolina because I don't have time to be explaining my whole journey to a whole other doctor's office or whatever, and getting prescriptions transferred and all. I don't got time for all that. So I felt like I had a choice to make. Like, am I going to go in and have her, knowing I already don't fit? This is before the whole Anhedonia video situation. knowing I already don't feel good on the 10 milligram, I have an option to opt out right now. Like I can either go with the 7.5 milligram or I can stick it out just a little longer on the 10 milligram. But I'm thinking this as I can barely get out of bed because I just took my 10 milligram. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm struggling with extreme fatigue 2 to 3 days out of the week. And I'm just like, I could just stick on a 10 a little bit longer and get this weight off. Just stick it out. Just stick it out a little bit longer. Well, I hadn't actually made up my mind until I watched Dr. Nadolsky's video on the depression situation. And he said, obviously, like y'all saw, that one of the things that he will try for his patients is to titrate them down. Now, again, I was already considering titrating down. It was just a matter of whether or not I was going to do it now or in a few months once I got the rest of the weight off. What made me decide to titrate down now is that it was honestly the exercise thing. So when he said that anecdotally, right? This is anecdotally, okay? Anecdotally, he has seen where patients, if they're having this kind of like bleh energy and he titrates them down, if it works and they feel better, they continue to lose weight or lose more weight because now they have the actual desire and energy to move their bodies. I have been trying successfully at first with the exercise, but for the past month, I ain't really been working out because I don't feel like it. I have been wanting to take my, body recomp very seriously. Even though I'm still losing weight, I want to put on muscle along the way. So I've been taking that seriously for some time now. And it feels like how I've been feeling, whether it's Tirzepatide related or not, has been getting in the way. Whether Tirzepatide is contributing to anything psychological or not is something to consider. But what I do know is that physically, the 10 milligram is stepping on me. Like physically, without a doubt, at least 3 to 4 days out of the week, this 10 milligram has me unable to do anything other than sit there and look stupid. So regardless, my ability to get up and be active is being impacted. So that was something that I considered. So I went to see my doctor, and of course, she asked how the journey has been and how my Zepbound experience has been. And I honestly told her I've been enjoying the 10 milligram as far as like the weight loss and the appetite suppression and the food noise and all of that. It's the fatigue that I can't deal with. And then I talked to her about my concern about, researching Anhedonia and whether or not Tirzepatide could be because of the effect on dopamine, whether or not that could be contributing to my mood, okay? My mood. Whether or not, I'm on Tirzepatide, I suffer from mood disorders anyway. So we talked about the titration. So she agreed to titrate me down to the 7.5 milligram. And like I just told y'all, if for some reason I can't lose any more weight, if I stall, then yes, I will go back up to the 10 milligram to lose the rest of the weight and then cross that bridge again when I get to it. Like I said, maybe being off the 10 milligram for some time will be enough for me to get a fresh start with it. But this is it. This is it for the 10 milligram. Like I'm done. Had I had any more refills, I would have stayed on it, but it is what it is. Like I feel like I have to take a chance. Not necessarily something that I'm recommending to everybody else. If you are not having problems on your dose, then I would say stay on your dose until you need to titrate up, or stay on your dose until you're done losing weight. And then I think the plan is supposed to be to still stay on your dose. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend to anybody, which I'm not a doctor anyway, to titrate down, I guess, without a good reason. This is my first time titrating down since the start of my journey. Yes, this is the first time I'm titrating down instead of up. Okay. And titrating up is out of the question as of right now. As of right now, that could change in the future. Titrating up is out of the question. There's no reason to, because I'm losing on the 10. So with titrating down, the risk that comes with that. I could stop losing weight and I still have 25 pounds to lose. I could stop losing weight. Food noise could come back. Whether or not that's work wittable, that's another thing to consider. Whether or not that's like it's an unreasonable amount of appetite that comes back, or hunger, or food noise, that's something else to consider. What else would you say is a concern with titrating down? What do you guys think? I think that's really all I could think of. One, my weight could be impacted. I could gain weight. I could stall. Food noise can come back. And appetite could come back. But you know what? Honestly, it's been a struggle to eat on a 10 milligram. I do eat, but it has been a struggle. I am not completely opposed to being able to eat more, which, you know, with that can get tricky with still trying to lose weight. But what other things do y'all think could be a concern with titrating down? Zepbound with CBT, physical activity, eating change. Zep with CBT. Did you just? Did you mean versus? Oh, did you mean versus? Okay, so Zepbound with CBT, physical activity, eating change versus zero Zepbound with CBT, physical activities, and eating. I would prefer to do that all with the Zepbound. Like, I'm team put all that ish together. Like, put it all together. Give me the Zepbound, give me the eating changes, give me the CBT, give me the physical activity. Give me all that. Like, I want all of that together. I don't want to not be on Zepbound. That's not what I want. But if for any reason it's making my life miserable, then I will get off of it. But that's not the case as of right now. Deanna says, the way I figured out I was having anhedonia during happy moments or moments of excitement, I just feel nothing. Not bad, but like, yeah, whatever type of feeling. Okay. Thank you for pointing this out, because this is very hard to explain. It's a very hard feeling to explain, because it's not a bad feeling. It's just not good either. Like, depression is scary. Depression feels horrible. Depression feels scary, lonely, negative, extremely negative, sometimes helpless, hopeless, like dark, cloudy, like depression feels like a physical weight, or not even a physical weight. Like, it feels like a energy, like a negative energy pressing down on you, right? Like, that's how I would describe a depressive episode. SAD feels like a milder version of that, where it's just like a dull mood, kind of like lethargic or lethargy, fatigue, kind of like just it's like it's not as scary, but it's like lesser of, like, if depression is a spectrum, SAD would be, you know, on a lesser end of the spectrum, not the more extreme end. But it still feels negative. Like, it feels like it feels very sad. SAD can feel very, very sad. It can feel very, very sad. But this other thing that I'm thinking could be anhedonia, right? Because it's not like I've been diagnosed or anything, but I'm thinking it could be. It doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel scary or sad or bad or like helpless. It's just a complete, like, what would you call it? Like indifference. Hi, G's. It's like a complete indifference, like you don't care or not care. Like, I can't explain it. Like, and then if I, like, it's also difficult for me too, because I do have anxiety. Like, I do, but this is not Tirzepatide related. I've had anxiety before Tirzepatide. So, like, imagine having no interest in doing certain things, but still feeling obligated to do those things, then it's like you're anxious because you really, really don't want to. Like you really, really, really don't want to. So it's not negative. It's not a negative feeling. That whatever, kind of like blah, like you're just kind of indifferent. You're just kind of indifferent. And it's I don't know. It's different. It's different. It's different. She enjoyed hanging out with her BFF. Who, me? I did. I had a good time. But if it was up to me, like if I didn't feel like I would be letting her down, I would not have gone. Did I miss something? Oh, okay. No, I don't. I thought I missed a comment from you, Jen. Do we believe food can affect our mood? Yes. There are times foods have put me in a better mood. I mean, that's the point of like being an emotional eater. So I think that yes. I think yes. The wrong food can put you in a negative mood. The right food can put you in a great mood. Sometimes the wrong food can put you in a great mood. And that's where you get, emotional eating and obesity, like leading to obesity and stuff like that. So definitely, definitely. Have you ever watched 600-Pound Life? When they don't get what they want, they get very upset. They get very cranky. They get very cranky. They get upset on 600-Pound Life. Okay. When they don't get what they want as far as like food. I don't want you to be white knuckling it anymore, sweetheart. I am white knuckling it, sunshine. How much time we got left? We got time. I am white knuckling it, sunshine. I am. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm team tush push. Like I'd rather not tush push, but if you give me if it's between being skinny on the other end of a tush push or just stopping where I am now, I'm gonna tush push it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna white knuckle it. I'm gonna struggle. I'm gonna crawl. I'm gonna break my fingernails. Like I'm getting this weight off. I'm getting it off. And I guess I'm feeling anxious about rushing now. Like I want it to happen faster now because I just want to be done with it. I just want to be done with it. Deanna says, 100% agree. I don't feel depressed, but when Dave at On the Pen started talking about it, I immediately knew that's what I'm experiencing on Thursday. Oh, Dave talked about it. I did not know because I don't keep up with the channels, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel like depression as a person that suffers from depression. It doesn't feel like SAD as a person that suffers from SAD. So it's like, there's this thing. There's this other thing that is just like, It makes you feel like something is wrong with you, honestly, because it's like, why won't you just get your ass up and do this thing? Or if you do get up and do it, it's like, why are you so miserable about this? Like, why are you so uninterested in this? Like, why can't you just get a little bit of a spark about yourself? Just get a little excited about this. I tried, shopping for new clothes as far as like workout clothes to get me more interested. And the shopping was interesting, but the actual wearing the clothes to work out, like none of that was interesting. And I'm honestly, this is why I struggle with making YouTube videos. This is why I've just been sticking with lives. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this was before the 10 milligram. Like, so with going live, I was going through some changes in my life. So my symptoms of depression were like flaring up. So I started therapy and I got that under control. But I was already like into the whole live stream thing and interacting with y'all. So I kind of like let the videos fall to the side for the most part. But the past 6 months, forget about it. Forget about it. I will literally fight with myself about making a video before I actually make it. You ever consider a vitamin infusion energy routine regimen since being on a 10 milligram? There are some steps that we have to take on higher doses that we didn't on lower doses to avoid effects. I agree. What do you mean about vitamin infusion energy routine? Or were those two separate things? Vitamin infusion, are you talking about like IV therapy? If that's what you meant, then I used to do that when I was on the lower doses, but it can be very expensive, so I stopped. But it is on the agenda to get started with that again. Only because, but the effects are very temporary. Like the effects typically, like I'll pay $100 for a drip and I feel amazing getting like B12 and what's the G one? I forget the name of it, but a few of them intravenously, and I feel great. But I feel great for that day, and then it's kind of like over with. IV, yes. Okay, yes. Then yes, I plan to go back to my IV drips. Well, I was supposed to go this weekend, but it's snowing here now, so that didn't happen. But yes, I will be going back to my IV drips. Okay. So the other thing, because we're about to get out of here in 30 minutes. Let's say 30 minutes, so I could like make me something to eat. Y'all, I'm like in the mood for some hot dogs. So I'm probably gonna get out of here like 10 minutes early. I'm probably gonna get out of here like 9:15, 9:20, so I can make me a hot dog. I want one. I want me a hot dog. I do want me a hot dog. So so I did mention the ibuprofen to my doctor. Okay. Told her how I was feeling. Told her how I've been feeling. Of course, she has my, the therapist that I was seeing at the a while ago. She's also at the same clinic. And matter of fact, let me back up. So when I was in therapy at this particular place, I've switched therapists a few times between virtual and in person. When I was doing therapy in person, I was struggling bad. Okay. I was struggling real bad when I first got on a GLP-1. Okay. Like my SAD was whooping my arse. It was whooping my arse. And the therapist said I wanted a pill. I wanted a pill bad. Like, I'm like, this cannot be it. This cannot be life. There has to be something that I can take. Right. And my therapist pretty much responded by like, she was reluctant. Like, she's like, we could, but typically we don't go that route unless somebody's just at the point of like where they really can't function. And I guess because like I felt bad, but I was coping, she didn't want to go the route of medication, but she kind of left it up to me. She's like, if you want to, we can explore some of those options. But and I honestly, she didn't give me any examples. Like she didn't lay out any options. She didn't lay out any pharmaceutical choices for me. She was just like, like I don't think that's what you need, right? Like I don't think that's what you need. But if you want to try it, we can. Now, as far as I knew, I only knew the options of like antidepressants through SSRIs, and I was not impressed. Like, now I wasn't opposed if I was really in need, but I wasn't convinced that I was really in need because talk therapy was working, exercise was working. It was just hard. Like it was really, really hard, but I knew if I stuck it out, it was going to work. And ultimately it did work. So I didn't medicate. I do remember Delilah. I think it was Delilah at the time that was like, that kind of sucks. Like if you need the help, I don't know if a doctor should be discouraging you from taking a medication. You know what I mean? Like if the option's there, then the option should be offered. So, and if it wasn't you, Delilah, I'm sorry for lying on your name, but I remember somebody telling me that at the time. But it was okay. I did the therapy, I did the CBT, I did the exercise, and I got through the winter. So it was fine. It worked out. So when I went to the doctor this time after watching Dr. Spencer's video, again, I already committed to the titration down. So we talked about that as far as the 7.5 milligram. But I did ask her, like I did my own research. And from what I was seeing, people were saying good things about bupropion. But one thing stuck out to me. He didn't necessarily say like, I recommend this alongside Zepbound. Like, this is just what people should do. He was like, if necessary, some people, like if it really comes down to it, I will titrate them down and do this additional step, right? So I did a little research about it, and most of what I saw was good things. I did find a couple of Reddit threads with people not liking some of the side effects. Like apparently you're either in the group of people where bupropion functions as a stimulant like it's supposed to, stimulating your dopamine, or you're in a group of people where it makes you extremely exhausted and you just don't enjoy the experience at all. So I mean, I guess it's pretty much a coin toss. Like, I'm not really sure. Like, we're all different biologically. So I'm not really sure what determines which outcome you get. And my doctor really didn't. She wasn't really able to explain that to me either. But I told her I did some research on it and that I was interested and seeing if that would work for me, especially considering my history with SAD and depression, and that I was interested in trying a pharmaceutical intervention before, but just didn't. Like now there's something different going on, and my usual route to get through how I'm feeling is not working. Like my CBT, my exercise, like there's something else going on. And I did tell her that I thought it was related to being on a higher dose of tirzepatide based on the research that I had done. She didn't necessarily agree or disagree. She just, I guess, listened. Like she just well, when I say she didn't agree or disagree, she didn't say that it wasn't possible. Like she basically agreed that it was possible, but there's no really way for her to confirm that, right? So what she did was she took my depression score and anxiety score. So she asked me some questions about how I've been feeling, stuff like, do you feel hopeless? Do you feel like self-harm? Do you feel like, how's your sleep? And then you rate, some, most days or no days out of the week, more than a couple of days, most days, every day, right? Like a score like that. And it came out with like, it ended up being like, some mild depression, which I would attribute to weight loss, right? Not the weight loss causing depression, but like the fact that it's mild and not severe. I think I've been able to keep it at a mild from doing CBT, exercise, weight loss, right? Like, so I'm actively doing the work to keep that depression score pretty low, or I should say my symptoms, but for them it's a score. And then my anxiety was like more on the moderate to high end. So she talked to me. She talked to me about the bupropion, which is, trying to think of the brand name. Wellbutrin. For some reason I can't pronounce it. Wellbutrin. Say it with me now. Wellbutrin. Okay, so we talked about that, and I'm not going to get too much into it. That's why it's going to be a members only stream, because I want to make sure that that's not necessarily, because it's new, it's not necessarily something that I want to talk about at length on, to a larger audience, because I want to know kind of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it publicly, or I want to be able to say how it actually has worked or not worked for me, before I start talking about it publicly. So we're really going to be talking about it on the members only stream, but she was not opposed to me trying this as an option. Okay. Since I'm having like those mild depression symptoms, which honestly, it's not the depression that I'm concerned about, but they don't have an Anhedonia scale, or if they do, she didn't use it, but I'm assuming they don't have one because she screened for depression and anxiety. Anyway, whatever. So she's like, okay, I think that the Wellbutrin would be a good addition to help stimulate some of that dopamine and help, reduce some of those side effects that you're having. Well, what I didn't know, okay, because I don't even think this comes up when you look up the definition. Let me see. Not definition. When you look up the treatment or effects of bupropion. Hold on, let me see something. This doesn't even come up. So she also mentioned that it was an appetite suppressant. So she was saying that could work to my benefit, since I'm going to be titrating down on the Zepbound. The fact that adding this additional medication in it does have appetite suppressing effects, could potentially like make up from some of that loss that I'm getting from the 10 milligram, which I didn't even know about. I hadn't even considered, because when you look up bupropion, it doesn't talk about appetite suppression. So let me get into what it actually is for those that don't know. For those that don't know, let me just briefly read what it is, and then we'll get back to the conversation that I was having with my my doctor. So it says it's an atypical antidepressant and smoking cessation aid that increases dopamine and norepinephrine levels. Common side effects include dry mouth, insomnia, headache, nausea, and constipation. It is used for major depression, seasonal affective disorder, and smoking cessation. It carries a seizure risk at high doses. Now, when I was doing my research before I even spoke to my doctor, I was like, bingo, okay? You can get this prescribed for SAD, and I didn't know that. That's just like a double whammy, honestly. Like that is, I didn't even know you could get prescribed anything other than vitamin D, I guess, for SAD. So in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm like, why didn't my therapist back then present this to me? Because now with the SSRIs, I understand taking like treading with caution with the SSRIs. But if you need them, you need them. So that I understand. Okay. That I understand. But I'm not really sure why she didn't suggest this to me when I was interested back then or whatever. So let's continue. Primarily used for the treatment of major depressive disorder, seasonal affective disorder, and as an aid for smoking cessation. It also is used off-label for ADHD, obesity management, and sexual dysfunction. See, I don't know about that. Maybe that's where the obesity management comes in because I didn't read that before. So off-label uses. Okay, I guess I don't know. So function as a norepinephrine dopamine reuptake inhibitor. Unlike many other antidepressants, it does not act on serotonin and is not typically associated with sexual dysfunction or weight gain. All right. So it's available in immediate release, sustained release, and extended release forms. Okay. So the reason I'm reading that is because I'm going to tell you which one I ended up getting. So to be clear, I'm not sharing this as in something I'm suggesting to other people. So let me just take a sidebar real quick. Let me just take a sidebar and give an announcement. This is not something that I am suggesting should be paired with Zepbound. I am speaking for me and me only based on my medical history, based on my mental health history, and based on the research that I have done and how I have been feeling. This is the route that I am going. I am not suggesting this for anyone. Please talk to your doctor, talk to your mental health professionals, talk to your cat if you have to, okay? Talk to somebody. This is not something that I'm putting out there as this is what people on Zepbound at higher doses that may be experiencing anhedonia need to do. No, okay? I don't know nothing about that. This is why I don't want to talk about it at length publicly, because I don't want people asking questions that I can't answer if I haven't even been on the medication long enough to even talk about my experience. So I'm just introducing you to what has changed, like I posted about in the community when I said things have changed. This is one of the things that have changed, and we're going to talk about it more in depth for members only so that I can be more in control of, distributing that information about my personal experience. And then once I have, a bit more of a understanding, well, not understanding, but once I have more information on how it's been working for me or not working, then I will share more publicly. All right. So she checked my depression and anxiety score, and she clarified that, Wellbutrin does not function the same as the SSRIs. And she also mentioned the SAD and my prior history with depression. Also, why, stimulating some dopamine could be effective. So whether or not like what I'm experiencing is anhedonia, whether or not I'm experiencing it because of Tirzepatide, this potentially was going to be a good option for me anyway. I just so happened to find out about it through Dr. Spencer's video. Now, I am one, like I said, it don't take much for me, right? If I'm experiencing something, just like with getting on a GLP-1, right? I knew I was obese. I knew my prior weight loss methods, not that they necessarily didn't work, but they didn't stick. When I did the research of getting on a GLP-1, it made perfect sense for me. Okay. So it was the same thing with this. Not something that I have done before. I've never been on an antidepressant. When I started on a GLP-1, I'd never been on a GLP-1. Okay. Never even heard of a goddamn GLP-1 until I heard of a GLP-1. So it's the same thought process that I use to get on a GLP-1. If it sounds like it makes sense for me, if my doctor is okay with it, right? And the research makes sense and the risk worth versus the benefit weighs out for me as far as side effects, then let's go for it. Let's see if it works. And if it doesn't work, worst case scenario, I'll work with my doctor about weaning off of it. All right. So it's 9:07. I'm going to start wrapping up, and we will come back in about 20 minutes for the members only stream. So members, it's a separate stream. Just make sure you go. You may not get a notification for it, but it is going to start at 9:30. So just make sure that you go back to the channel and click on the members only stream. All right, I'm going to get caught up on your comments before I continue. And for some reason, if for some reason I don't get caught up on y'all comments, then we're going to be late to our other stream. All right, so that's exactly how lipo B shots work for me. Super energetic. The next day, all over again. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I do enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I do enjoy the IV drips, but they don't, the effects don't last very long. Sorry, I need to zoom in to see your name. Carly, is that how you say your name? Carly? Or is that the only part that I can make out? You let me know. Hi, I've been off 10 milligram for a month and something didn't feel right. I had a constant feeling of dread I've been on 10 milligram for a month and something didn't feel right. I had a constant feeling of dread. So I called my doctor's office Friday and asked to lower my dose back down. That's very good that you actually decided to talk to your doctor. Dread is an interesting description. I'm pretty sure that, like, because we're all different, like, people will experience certain symptoms different ways. So that's definitely something worth talking with your doctor about. So hopefully, if that was caused by the tirzepatide, hopefully titrating back down will be a good option for you. Kim K says, great that you immediately contacted your doctor. I hope titrating down works. Okay. I didn't like Wellbutrin at all. I was on it years ago. Do you want to say what you were on it for? Or if you want to, you can wait for the members only stream. That's also why I wanted to do this as members only, so that we can get personal and not have to worry about, the stream being out there for the public. But keep in mind that, this is still the internet. So although it's a members only stream, just be mindful of what you all decide to share. I'd rather just try lowering my dose and seeing how I felt first. Yeah, I don't think that intervention of an antidepressant is supposed to be the first line of defense for anyone that does or doesn't have a, history with depression or anything like that. Now, I could have waited, but no, I didn't want to. Like, I could have switched to the set. Like, I would have to go through another week I would have to go through this week on the 10 milligram, then the following week on my last dose, and then I would have to go through several weeks on the 7.5 milligram. I really don't want to wait that long to get a increase in dopamine. Like, I needed something. I didn't feel like I could afford to wait 4 to 6 weeks for something to change. So I'm doing both. I'm titrating down, and I have started the generic form of Wellbutrin. I think she was just anti-medication, which is why it wasn't suggested. Okay. Talking to my cat right now. I'm telling you, like, if you spend time talking to your cat, you never know what good advice they might give you. Oh, okay. My first name is Yetka. Yes, I was on 7.5 milligram for 6 months, so I'm hopeful. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just reading, like, my eyes have been bothering me all day, so I was just reading the middle, and I saw Carly. I'm like, is it Carly? Okay, that was dumb. All right, thank you so much, and I'm glad you fell out of the clouds and left a comment for us. Okay, so now one second. So in the members only stream, and if you would like to become a member, you can feel free to click the link at the top of the chat. I will be answering questions about like more in-depth questions about why I decided to go this route, how it's been working for me, because I have been taking it since Tuesday, whether or not I've noticed a difference so far. And then I will be tracking my progress or lack of progress via members only when it comes to the ibuprofen. The reason I'm not saying Wellbutrin is because, you know, I'm technically not on the brand. So I don't, and I'm not plugging the brand. I'm not plugging this at all. This is just what I felt like was going to work for me, but definitely speak with your doctors. I'm going to be going over the different doses and which one I ended up being on and how it's supposed to help me, how I felt, the risks, the side effects, the additional appetite suppression. Like, have I noticed a difference with my appetite? Whether or not this is a temporary or permanent solution for me, I'll be talking about that as well. And for fun, I'm going to talk about the fact that I'm not going to be drinking on this medication. Now, go eat my hot dog, man. Okay, I'm gonna. I got 3 more minutes. Okay, I'm gonna go make it. Okay, it's gonna take like 2 seconds. Like, I'm not even gonna boil the water. I'm gonna make a fry. Like, I'm gonna like not saute it. I'm gonna like pan fry it, like with a little bit of oil. Whatever. Leave me alone, Delilah. So no drinking on this medication. I did drink on Zepbound. Okay, I did, but I will not be drinking while taking this medication. So that goes back to whether or not this is a temporary intervention, because it has been used like as a temporary intervention for SAD. So it has been used seasonally for some people. So I'm considering whether or not this is going to be a temporary or permanent solution. And we're going to be talking about whether or not this is recommended. And I can already go ahead and tell y'all without even joining the members only stream that I am not discouraging or recommending. Right now, I'm just talking about my own personal experience. Okay. Fried hot dogs are my favorite. I know it's about to be so good. Okay. So thank you for everybody that joined. I was such an adult today. Okay. I'm going to have to talk to like HR about getting a bonus potentially, because I was on point with my notes and with my timing. All right. So I'm going to get out of here. Members, I will see you in 15 minutes for our stream where I'm going to be going over all of the things that I just listed as far as the Wellbutrin. And that's pretty much it. I love you all. In case you missed it, I am back down to 167 pounds and I'm still going bald. Okay. So I don't know. We got a whole hair situation going on. We got 25 more pounds to lose. I don't know. Okay. Do y'all have any comments before I get out of here? Because Delilah's going to yell at me if I don't go eat. Y'all know how I feel about weenies. See, I should have just left when I had the chance. Yetka says, thank you for sharing. You're very welcome. All right. So I'm going to assume that you guys don't have anything for me. So I will see all of you next week for the next weigh-in. And members, I will see y'all in 15 minutes. Okay. I love you all. Good night. Bye.